The difference between my course and many other courses available today is that I'm teaching you to channel your own creative thinking and not to be reliant on any one particular technology. The Beatles, Prince, and Taylor Swift did not start out with apps, and neither will you. Now, whether you are a very experienced songwriter or you have never written a single song before in your life, the exercises in this course are designed to get your creative juices flowing. So how long will this take for you to start seeing new song ideas? And what can you expect out of the first part of this course? Well, it's going to depend on you and your mindset. My goal is to have you produce at least 3 usable song starting points in less than 30 minutes after watching these first 5 exercises, but hopefully much more than that. The human mind is marvelously wired to overcome constraints and obstacles. If you at this time are struggling with the I can'ts, like I don't have time, I don't have tools, my melodies sound the same, or my melodies sound like other people's melodies, or you just struggle with self-doubt in general, follow the link on the bottom and we will ask you to walk through these creative dilemmas. If on the other hand you are just ready to go, your key to rapid success will be in how you use the exercises. First, after watching each video, I want you to dedicate at least 5 minutes to completing each of the 5 exercises. The 6th exercise will be for you to come up with your own useful exercise. The musician Slash of Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver fame once said that he came up with the opening riff of one of their earliest hits, Sweet Child of Mine, as an offshoot of a scale exercise that he created for himself. So I'm not telling you to do anything that doesn't work. Now, one thing I've found is that while sometimes I come with ideas directly from these exercises, after I've committed to one or several exercises, I am more likely to come up with new ideas on my own that have nothing to do with the exercises themselves. Or wait, is that really true? The reality is that once you've started exercising your creative brain, it's going to start to go into overdrive, and before you know it, you'll be like me with literally hundreds of ideas on your smartphone to choose from when starting out a new song. If you don't have at least 3 useful ideas to begin songs with after doing these first 5 to 6 exercises, I want you to email me and I will do one free 20 to 30 minute Zoom consultation with you, and we'll make sure that that reality happens for you. But first, I do want you to send me your rough smartphone recordings to see that you did attempt the exercises. Many times people have the seeds of something started already, but they just don't hear it yet. Now, if you like doing the exercises and want to keep coming up with more great idea after great idea, then continually dedicate at least 10 minutes per day, and that's an absolute minimum. And when I say 10 minutes, I mean literally set a timer, turn your smartphone notifications off, whatever you have to do to get the notifications to stop. Shut the world off for 10 minutes. Now, we've talked a lot about producing a lot of usable ideas very quickly, and you will like some of your ideas better than others. But I can certainly 100% promise you that you will learn more ways to write than just the standard 4 chords we call 1, 4, 5, and 6, where all the songs sound the same. Because if we're going to write mediocre stuff that feels uninspired and half-baked, well, you might as well just plug in a really good AI program. And I know that you have more potential than an AI program, and I promise that if you commit to this series, you will find new and innovative ways to create melody and harmony, and you will even approach the rest of your life with a greater degree of creativity that will spill over into other areas. Maybe you hit a roadblock at work or in school, and you just need a renewed and fresh approach. But just like how the Beatles started out with simpler arrangements, so will we, and as we progress, the examples in your work will become more interesting and more cohesive. Today we're going to learn how to write a melody, and we're going to do do's and do nots. Here's the first do not. Even my youngest student would say that was terrible. And why was it terrible? Because there were no rules, no rhyme or reason. Number 2, it was all over the place and basically covered the entire span of the piano. The span of a piano is 7 1/3 octaves, and even the best professionals can only sing maybe 3, 4 octaves. No, most people can only sing about 1 1/3. Okay, so maybe 10, 11 white keys. And if you can't hum it, you can't sing it, and you can't whistle it, no one's going to remember your song. Even Mr. Beethoven knew this. notice that we have not traveled outside of 10 white keys. Okay, so certainly Beethoven knew what he was doing. Even when we go further in the song. See, we've only done this many keys for the melody. Now, let's go on to another example though, shall we? I'm going to stop there. I think that you all are bored, and I hope that you're bored, because that was a very boring piece of music. So that's my second do not for today. Let's talk about what was boring. Well, all the notes were the same loudness. All the notes were the same length. All the notes were neighbor notes. There was no variation. Neighbor, 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 neighbor. So all those three things that I mentioned. Now, do you think that I could create a melody that uses neighbors in a row from C to C and still have a good melody? Let's find out. Joy to the world. And notice that when you do this, you've got long, short, short, long, short, long, short, long. Then you do this big skip. So that's really key, right? When you put that big skip in there, that keeps us from falling asleep. It's unexpected to all of a sudden skip over 3 white notes when we were doing just neighbors before. Now, that brings up the question, what is a motif? A motif is the cool part or the glue of the song. It's what makes the song the song. Let's look at that for Elise one more time. Now let's talk about what is the motif there. 9 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, notice what he did not do. This is what he did not do. Oh man, that's too much, isn't it? That's too much. But what was the motif wrong? No, the motif wasn't wrong. But even a good thing can be worn out. Even a good thing can be overused. And what did he do instead? He put some other material in there to kind of sandwich between the repetitions. Now I'm going to play, so he certainly does repeat the motif, but he puts other things in there to kind of put a little bit of variety so you don't overuse a good thing. Now here's another technique that you may have heard of, do, re, mi. Now he doesn't do this. Instead he does. Notice that I moved up a note and I added a little something to the rhythm. Dum, bum, 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 bum. Then we move up yet another note and return to the original rhythm. And finally, we move up yet another note and now we return to that second rhythm. Okay, so by moving up a note each time, that prevents the motif from getting wore out. Here's another great example of that. Okay, so here's your melody. That's your motif. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're just going to take that same idea and move it up a couple keys. Take that same idea, move it up a couple more, and we're going to add a little twist and a turn. So it's not how many notes, it's how you use the motif, how you create variety, right? Can you break rules? Well, do you think that Beethoven knew that really doesn't fit the key, that D sharp doesn't even belong in the scale? He sure did. But what he did with that wrong note was very important. He did not do this. Oh man. Oh, okay. So that note creates tension. And when you have too much tension, it's like dumping a gallon of hot sauce on a piece of pie or doing something crazy where, no one's going to eat something like a bowl of macaroni and cheese with a gallon of hot sauce on it, right? It's ridiculous. Okay. So, yes, you can break rules. This was breaking a rule, but you cannot break all the rules all the time. Otherwise, you went right back to this, and you don't want to do that. So, the key to good songwriting, tension is good, but too much tension is bad. That note right there relieves all the tension. In this case, A is what we would call the tonic note. I like to call it a home note, okay? Because by coming back to that note, it relieves the tension. In 99 out of 100 songs, you will return to the tonic note, which is the same as the first note of the scale being used by the song. And if you don't do that, you're going to have a song that sounds incomplete. As you can see, I've placed stickers on my piano, and I am using the A minor pentatonic scale. And notice that I start with A, and I have a yellow sticker, and then I have chosen orange for the other stickers. And then I've got A again with a yellow sticker. No, notice I've skipped the B and the F. We'll get into why that is. And we say pentatonic because, in fact, there are 5 unique letters, A, C, D, E, and G. Okay? Now, even just playing with that scale, this particular setup, that alone may be enough to come up with an idea. That alone may be enough to come up with an interesting motif. Now, personally, I like to have a couple repeat notes. I like to place a couple more stickers on the E and the G below it. And that still stays within that 10 or 11 key range that I said is a good range for a melody. And that just gives me a little bit more flexibility. Now that I've explained this scale a little bit, I'd like to talk about another do not. So, you ever have that friend who uses run-on sentences, and then I went to the mall, and then I went to the store, and then I hung out with my other friends, and then we did this, and then we played baseball, and then we played basketball, and then after about 5 minutes, your brain is tuned out. And music is just another language. And we have to have punctuation in language. We need to have breaks. Otherwise, our brain can't process everything. There's only so much that can be held in short-term memory. And as I had stated before, you really want 15 notes maximum for your motif. In fact, less than 10 is better. I'm going to show you a much nicer example now. Notice I only used A, C, and D. See how much more satisfying that is? So let your notes breathe. Put space between your notes. Now you're probably wondering what was I doing with the left hand. And I'm going to put a few more stickers here. I'm going to use blue this time. So I'm going to put a blue sticker on F, blue sticker on G, and a blue sticker on A. So if after playing with this original pattern in the right hand, you get a little bored, and maybe maybe you're just not getting as many ideas as you had hoped, or they just seem a little bit not satisfying, let's say. You may wish to add a harmony part, and I'm playing a triad on F, A, and C. So I'm playing an F major chord, and what I did was I'm playing the F, I'm skipping a white note, playing a white note, skipping a white note. So I've got F, A, and C, okay? F, A, and C. And I'm using my pinky, my middle, and my thumb. Now, could you do it like this? Yes, but I think you're going to regret your life choices later if you try to stretch and make, you see what I'm saying? So this is much nicer to do pinky, middle, thumb. And so what I do is I do this white note, skip, white note, skip, white note, starting on F with my pinky, and then I move my pinky up to the next blue sticker, play that for 2 counts, and then I move my pinky up to the next blue sticker, play that for 4 counts. And I never change the shape of my hand. I'm still doing white note, skip, white note, skip, white note. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So if it helps you to find these triads, the starting points, you might want to do stickers like I have for your left hand. If you get really frustrated trying to do triads, if you're not a person that's comfortable doing chords yet, that's okay too. You can just do F, 2, G, 2, A, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let's say that you're a little more advanced than all that and you're like, oh boy, this guy's putting me to sleep. Okay, well, let's add a 4th chord. We're going to put one on C. So I would say, do not play this. Don't play the B. You can see why. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so that may give you a little more versatility yet. And finally, you may try experimenting with the rhythm aspect. Like what I would encourage is maybe do 2 quarter note pulses on the F chord, 2 quarter notes G, 2 quarter notes A, 2 quarter notes C, and basically do like the 2 quarter notes and then play 2 beats with your right hand, 2 quarter notes, play 2 beats with your right hand. I'll show you exactly what I mean. This is a metronome that keeps time. So you might have some fun with that. And I mean, it's not a strict rule that you can't have the 2 work together simultaneously. You heard as I was playing those last couple chords that there was some overlap. And truly the point of these exercises is to get your creative juices flowing, and that they're simply a starting point for that. Now you're probably wondering, why did I never use the B? Why did I never use the B when I set up my right hand? I'm going to show you why. That takes us right back. If you happen to see the hot sauce video, you remember that, right? Okay, so that is a very harsh, see all 3 of those clash against the B. Really bad, okay? So again, now you could fix it, right, by using only a drop of hot sauce instead of a gallon, because I call this a hot sauce note, right? The B with the F chord. You could fix it using a drop instead of a gallon. Okay, so, but I left the B and the F out because sometimes for beginners it gets a little overwhelming. And the fact is that this scale just flows so nicely, right? Now, in the upcoming videos, I'm going to show you a system so that you can kind of identify what those dissonant sounds are before you even play them. And you probably have wondered, how did Beethoven write music after he went deaf? Well, he simply knew which combinations of notes would go with which notes. And I'm going to show you a system before you even play the note, what it will sound like. Also in the upcoming videos, I'm going to show you some new exercises, and here's something that I wrote with one of the exercises. This is for my dad. And here's another little motif that I came up with, a different exercise. As you can see on the second repetition, I changed it a little bit. We certainly have covered that today, but I want you to take these upcoming exercises and write something similar but different and uniquely yours. Thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe.